Gather, children, sit for a spell. I'll tell you of black witches and where we dwell. Tituba, though great, not the first of our kind, with magical DNA, flip our heritage and rewind. Stolen our language and mystical beliefs, our evolution left from text so our children won't speak or seek. As the chiefs have their guns and wartime brute force, the priestess has her ancestors and spirits, of course, who direct and change history's course. We've toiled in the earth, black witches' blood spilled, shame eradicated, beat down. Hear our cries, feel our shrills. It is here where I invite you. It is here where I'll spend.
Welcome to another BWU podcast. We are so delighted to be back again. We encourage you to contribute to our Patreon page. It does help fund our efforts. Black women should be getting paid for what they do. And in the community, they should get paid for their labor. And we are so grateful for the $3 donation as well as the larger donations. We appreciate everything. You can also visit us at our Facebook page, on Instagram, and via www.blackwitchuniversity.org. We're so delighted to be here. I am Lakeisha Harris.
And I am Toni Maurice Milburn.
I'm Lorena Elizabeth Bostic Seals.
And we are the founders of Black Witch University, active and practicing witches in our community. And we are so delighted to bring you this topic today. And it's called, Don't Open That Goddamn Door.
That it is.
We have been marinating on this topic. And I'm going to let Lorena and Toni start out with it because, let's just say when your mama left the house, okay? And I was a latchkey kid. And when she said, don't open up my goddamn door for nobody, you didn't open up your goddamn door for nobody.
No.
Not the mailman, not the post office. And if it was a fire, you needed to call your mama and ask her if you can open up the goddamn door and get out.
Right.
For real.
So this time we want to talk about don't open up that goddamn door. We're not talking about the physical door at this point. We're talking about the spiritual door. So without further ado, take it over, ladies.
Well, I'm going to start with, and then Lorena will more than likely go on into the spiritual side of it. But let's start with that physical door. Let's start with you hear the knock on the door or you hear something at the door and you go to the door and you don't ask who's there, or you do and nobody says anything and you still open a goddamn door. Mm-hmm. Guess what you just did? Whoever on that other side, you just gave them permission to come up in your house.
Enter.
So you just said, come on in, make yourself comfortable, have a seat. And so now you have a problem, or you have an unwanted guest, or you have somebody that you don't know who they are, what they are, why they're there. You don't know anything.
Like the popo.
Right? So I know my grandmama used to tell me, don't open that goddamn door for nobody. And she was talking on a spiritual level because that's how she was. And that's how I was taught. You just don't open a door. If you hear somebody at that door, if it's not a physical person that you can see, don't open a damn door. Leave it.
Don't take a look. Don't open the door and talk about, hello? Is anybody there? Just go back doing whatever you was doing.
Just keep it moving. Oh, there was a knock? Oh, okay. I'm not expecting it.
Even if I'm home, my kids, if somebody knocks, they just look at each other and they'll come and get me. And I mean, and that's how I grew up. Even if my grandmother was home, I did not open the door. I didn't say who's there. I went and said, somebody's knocking at the door. And that's what my own children do.
This is also why you don't roll up on a black person's house without calling first. Because they ain't opening the damn door. They ain't going to let you know they home because you didn't bother to call first. They don't know who you are. and they weren't expecting any company. So you just gonna sit your ass out on the porch waiting until somebody decides to let you in on the other side of the door.
But when I do open the door and somebody's out there that I don't know, guess who is standing right in front of me? One of my big ass dogs. That's the first thing whoever is outside sees.
That's the one you're gonna meet.
Because a couple times people have come to my door who I didn't know. And, you know, I'm like, who is it? They'll say their name. I don't know who they are. I'll look out the window and I will call my dog, come here. Then I will open the door. Who are you? What do you want?
So today we just kind of wanted to talk to you guys about being mindful of the types of doors that you open, how you open them, and what you let through when you do open them.
Yes. All the doors, you guys. So before we get into spiritual doors, there's also this, say you have an acquaintance and you've noticed how this acquaintance is with other people, or like they talk too much, or like once they get started, you know it's going to be some mess. That's a door too. So following your intuition, like, okay, this is a drama queen. And if I listen to this one story, it's going to start a deluge of mess in my own life. Don't open that door either. Okay, because you're still opening the door to spiritual or energetic attachments and connections to people that you don't want opened. So you can find a compassionate way or whatever just to not engage, because that too is a doorway and can invite a whole bunch of mess into your life. Now, on to these spiritual doorways. So anytime you're undertaking any type of spiritual work, if you're embarking on a type of path working, or you're doing your shadow work, trying to get in touch with yourself and become more balanced, a doorway into the unknown, a doorway into the occult, or a doorway of an esoteric nature, you want to also be prepared for that. If you are not prepared to have things turned upside down, now that's not going to happen every time, but you have to be prepared for things to come out and things to happen that you're going to have to face and deal with. Try to be as ready as you can. Otherwise, just don't go there. Do
Kind
your
of like
research.
The Pandora's box,
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
The Pandora's box. Once open, very hard to close. Might be a little complex to open. Might just be real simple to open, but very hard to close.
Impossible for a novice to close. There is a group of people out here where I live who, after watching some videos and like following around a priest, thought that they could do exorcisms.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, so these same people began to have all kind of problems. Walking into these situations, not knowing how to identify, let alone clear or banish any entity, started having experiences at their own home. Things followed them home. Catching things on security cameras. What is that? Strange lights, doors opening and closing. You got to be very, very careful. It's not just fun and games. That's why we're telling you, don't open that goddamn door until you know what's on the other side. At the very least, you have to know how to identify. So dabbling is just out of the question, if you ask me.
And you know, I think that if you don't know what you're doing, ask someone. If this is something, the best thing you can do is open your mouth and your mind. Everybody wants to be the expert. And even we are still learning after many years of practicing and actively practicing. I still am learning. And I am not afraid to be like, you know what, boo, I don't know nothing about that. I'm not about that life. I'm not about that life. And, you know, maybe you need to go to this person or go to that person, or here is the research on it. These are the limitations of my magic. And I am not afraid of that. You know, get past your ego, because this place, this spirit place, is really not about ego. Know your limitations as a practicing witch. Know where you can go and where you cannot go, and do not enter those spaces unless you have had help and somebody who has learned in that tradition, who can take you and show you and know how to close, seal, and seal.
Yes.
Close and seal whatever you have done. So I just I would just be hesitant and just check your ego at the door. Check your ego at the door.
A couple of weeks back, we were talking about divining before, you do any work. And this is another reason why you should do so, because if you just choose to take on some work for somebody, you don't know what doors they've opened. So you don't know what you just stepped into. You don't know what's going to follow you now. You don't know what's going to attach to you now. So you've now opened up yet another door by stepping over, not divining, not making sure you should have been doing this work. You just went on and started doing the work. Now everything is blowing the hell up in your face and you don't know what to do. You can't figure out what you did wrong. Well, first of all, you didn't divine on it. That's what you did wrong. Second of all, you don't know what that person was about. You don't know if they came to you out of good faith or something else. So divine, that's what we were talking about. This ties right back into that.
Yes, Tony. People are spiritual portals or doorways. Check who you're connected to. What are they into? You know them? Because a lot of y'all want to be connected. Do you really know them? A lot of y'all want to be connected on Instagram. You have, and we're on Instagram, okay? But you don't know us. Find out about us. Research us. What do we do? You know what I'm saying? Be clear at who you're associating with. Everybody don't got your best interests at heart. Everybody who say they're a practitioner is not actively practicing. There's a lot to be said about, making sure that you're associating with people that are for your highest good. People who are not dragging your energy down, who's going to open something or either attach something to you, because we've had friends who are a part of Black Witch circles who have had things attached to them.
Yeah.
Who's had things attached to them purposefully, and have walked with these spirits. So I just really want you to recognize, who you're walking with, because people are portals and doorways.
And in that same vein, keep in mind that I hate to use the term, but it is a very factual and accurate term. Insta witches. These are the folks that get a deck of cards, have a couple of crystals, buy a few oils, read a couple of things on Google. Now they're experts. Now they're out here doing work, but they don't know what the hell they're doing. And if you didn't bother to check that person out, you didn't bother to see who they're associated with or how they're associated, and you go to them for work, you're opening up doors that you are not going to be able to close. So now you've got a whole bunch of shit going on that person can't do anything about because they're an insta witch and they didn't know they could do that. And you can't do anything about because you went to them for help. So you clearly can't help yourself right now. So that's another aspect to think about.
Yes. There is a door, a single door that is both physical and non-physical. And that door would be the door to the cemetery. So we're talking about intention and invitation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to the cemetery to visit your loved ones, you're not going there to conduct any magical work. Your intentions are completely different. your intentions are to go and commune with the specific people in this place, you wouldn't necessarily take any additional precautions because you have basically a tunnel vision of what you're there to do. And naturally, your relatives have an expectation. They're going to be ready for you anytime you come, and they're going to be extending a certain level of protection for you as well. You have harmless intentions. Now, going to the same cemetery at midnight with the intention of doing some magical working, which is going to attract a lot of eyes, not just those of your ancestors, but any and everything that is dwelling in that place. Mm-hmm. You're not there. You're not expected. So just imagine the things that can attach to you and be with you and cause discord in your life and wreak all types of havoc. Steps have to be taken when you cross that threshold, both entering and exiting. Alms have to be paid. Basically, deals have to be made. All cemeteries have a gatekeeper. Mm-hmm. And if you're not supposed to be there, you have to pay. All right?
Yes. And this is, inclusive. Like if I'm going to somebody's funeral, I still make those offerings, honey. I do. I bring them with me, and I know that people have paid to be in the cemetery at that point. They've paid for the plot. You're doing, you're paying homage to the deceased that is currently before you. And I often bring, my offerings at on that day to make to the deceased that's being laid before us, and also at the door, at the close. Making sure that I carry my poppy seeds. Somebody said glitter. They put glitter down.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, what? Because.
Why?
Somebody said that they put glitter down.
Sorry, I just had to do a little opera song right there because I didn't want to say the wrong thing. But no, not glitter, y'all.
Somebody said they put glitter down. I remember putting up the fact that I, put poppy seeds down, and then I bring my Florida water and I spray myself off to banish anything off. And somebody said, well, if you're talking about like spirits using counting, I put glitter down because that's finer than the poppy seeds. And I was like, no, ma'am. The poppy seed is for confusion too.
Right.
It's not just for counting, even though it's for counting, but it is also for confusion.
I mean, but the glitter flows with the air. It's right. Gonna get all over you, so they're gonna come with you so they can finish counting what's on your clothes.
Oh my gosh.
So you got 1,000 pieces of glitter on your jacket, so they're gonna be with you a long time.
Right? It's glitter. They counting the glitter on you, baby.
Get you some bird seeds. I mean, come on, y'all. Glitter? No.
Right. Come on. Anyway, yeah. So that's that. Oh, I'm eating popcorn, y'all. Sorry.
I'm gonna use sage to banish this demon. Okay.
Anyway, don't open the door.
With the glitter.
Right. Don't open that door if you don't know how to, close it, seal it. If you haven't done the research, don't be professing to be an exorcist. If you don't know how to exorcise nothing, just don't do it, y'all. Don't do it. Know the limitations and scope of your practice and your work, and be okay with saying, I don't know. I don't go there. It ain't my lane. I'm going to stay in it.
I just want to give a little anecdote. I was once on the phone with a person who proclaimed to have had dealings with spirits, physical dealings, physical manifestations of certain things that people would find, the average person would find to be rather frightful. I was having a telephone conversation and I had to get off the phone, so I put them on hold. Now, I just want people to know, people saying one thing as far as opening doors.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Look, I have a very large spirit court. Okay. And I have numerous guardians who are tasked with various jobs, interdimensional. Okay. So things happen. I was on the phone with this person. I left the phone. I came back to the phone. The person had hung up. When I called them back, they were frantic because they heard something on the phone that sounded like a demon. And it was speaking in an angelic language, and it was very, very frightening. And they were scared out of their mind. Told me they would never come to my house again because that's not natural. What was that? I need to call an exorcist. And I'm just like, wait, but you did this, and this with these spirits, and what do you mean? I have to call. If something's in my house, I know what's in my house. I know what's on my phone. Like I know who's with me. But, can you answer me why you're afraid?
Wow.
So, just sometimes just the act of saying, I'm this, I'm that, is going to open a door for you to be faced with that very thing. Mm-hmm. That's another opening of a door. Okay, so I want you guys to be mindful, even if you're projecting or you're getting ahead of yourself. It's acting as an invitation. Okay, if you tell somebody you work with a specific deity that you've never worked with, oh yeah, I call upon woo 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 woo, but you don't. Guess who's coming?
Guess who's coming to dinner?
Right?
So,
So stay out of them portals, them doors that you don't know. Don't go chasing waterfalls like TLC said.
Yes.
Stick to the rivers
and the lakes that you're used to.
Right?
Oh my goodness.
So with that, we want to close by thanking you all for another beautiful session. Thank you for listening in. Again, we implore you to help us continue to sustain Black Witch University by becoming a Patreon, a patron of our Patreon page, and by visiting our website at www.blackwitchuniversity.org and frequenting our social media pages. There you can get updates about when we're opening up our application process again. And for those of you who keep asking us, it will be June 1st, 2019. We will open up the application process again. We will give you more information. We will keep you updated. And I believe our cycle is from June 1st through August 31st. So you have about a 2-month window to get them applications in. And if you don't turn them in on time, do not come inboxing us about, it's too late. You got to wait for the next year.
You snooze, you lose.
You snooze, you lose. And so with that, we love y'all.
Thank you. Love you.
Thank you. See you next time.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
Now run here, conjure me. Tell your brother Mojo Sam. I want him to tell his voodoo and daddy. She's going back to Birmingham. I want food for dust. Sprinkle all around my baby's door. Maybe next time she won't try to leave me. She won't try to leave me no more. I want 13 granddaddy legs and 13 gallons of dragoon blood. I want it stirred for 13 hours and 13 pounds of jiggy horse mud. I want 13 potions, around 13 winter pains. Then maybe she will tell me her 13 lovers' name. next time she won't try to leave me. She won't try to leave me no more. I got a letter from the Flying Buzzard and one from Madame Decoy. They say we heard you was in trouble. We just trying to help you, boy. We can sing you 13 dry tappings wrapped in 13 toad frog skins. She will only tell you where she's going. She will tell you what she's been. I won't do for dust. Sprinkle all around my baby's door. Maybe next time she won't try to leave me. She won't try to leave me no more.